Hi, Sparkles, and welcome back to Intuitive Wisdom. This is episode 222, and today I'm joined by someone who brings a rare blend of depth, curiosity, and grounded brilliance. Reese Brown is the founder of the Cohere Collective. Reese is a former child actor turned meaning maker, someone who looks beneath the surface for the truth behind the story. In our conversation, she invites us into a completely fresh way of understanding purpose, intention, and the inner architecture of a meaningful life. We explore what she calls the meaning crisis and how our culture has often taught us to chase goals instead of creating the deeper coherence our souls are truly craving. Reese guides us through her framework called the Coherence Matrix, including the 6 pillars that form that bridge between spiritual truth and daily practice. You'll also hear Reese share a profound reframe. Purpose is not a fixed destination. It's a sacred relationship with your evolving self. I'm going to say it one more time because I wrote it down like 3 times prepping for this. Purpose is not a fixed destination. It's a sacred relationship with your evolving self. It isn't something that you achieve, it's something that you stay in conversation with. Reese reminds us that our purpose isn't meant to cap us. It's meant to inspire us, to expand, to open up new possibilities. This conversation is especially for anyone feeling that tension between who they've been and who they are becoming. Here we go. Welcome to Intuitive Wisdom, a space where insight meets energy and intuition leads the way. I'm K. Margaret Solorio, author, Angel Reiki Master, biotech graduate, and a guide for those seeking alignment in their home and life. Whether you're navigating change, clearing emotional clutter, or simply craving clarity, Intuitive Wisdom invites you to slow down, tune in, and rise into your authentic self. New episodes weekly. Come home to your own knowing. All right, Sparkles, quick announcements before we get to today's episode. First, have you taken my free quiz yet? It's called, Is Your Home Supporting Your Expansion? It only takes a few minutes and you get some clear insight into how your space may be shaping your energy and where you can start to shift things. Go to deliciousease.com/quiz. And if your space feels heavy or stuck or just a little off, or you've just gone through a big life transition, my home frequency reset service is a remote, intuitive, energetic refresh that's designed to bring your home back into harmony with you. It's perfect if you're craving a fresh start or a deeper alignment with your vision. So you can find that also at the website, deliciousease.com/services. And my book, Make Ease Your Vibe, is now available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle versions. It's packed with practical strategies for shifting your mindset, for managing your energy, and for evolving your relationship with time. So new time management strategies. Plus, when you purchase your copy, you get access to exclusive chapter bonuses. Again, go to the website and click on book, and you can type in your information there at deliciousease.com. And if you're looking for a quick guided meditation to help you breathe, tune in, or just take a break, I'm always creating new guided meditations that are available on the Insight Timer app. So be sure to check those out. Most of them are free. And like I said, I upload new meditations regularly. And last but not least, we have opened up listener support for this podcast. It's growing and I'm so excited. And we have, I'm just can't wait to see how it takes off even more in 2026. Thank you for all of you who've been with me this far. If you want to become an active supporter, again, there's a link in the show notes and you can donate regularly or donate one time and I'll give you a shout out and send you an energetic blessing. So with that, let's get to the episode with Reese. So much for joining me today. How are you?
I am doing really wonderfully today. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really looking forward to this.
Great. Thank you. Me too. As listeners may know, we're doing a podcast swap. So I had the opportunity to guest on your show and I'm very excited to have you here.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. You may know on this show, we like to explore what it means to live in alignment with your energy. So trusting your intuitive wisdom and how that can transform your inner and your outer world. I was curious for you if you could share a time when your intuition nudged you to do something unexpected.
Yeah, so one of the kind of pinnacles of my life actually, which sounds really dramatic, but I think is an accurate statement, was about my college decision and experience, which really, I think, set me forth on the path that I'm on now in a lot of really poignant ways. So, growing up, I was an actor. I professionally acted on film and TV for quite a long time, and I discovered my love of performance when I was quite young and did that throughout elementary, middle, high school. Um, and I thought that that was the thing, that I had found it. I loved being able to embody a character and play with people on stage. There was something so human and so connective about the acting process, both on stage and on camera. And then college came around, as it does for some of us, and I was set on going to a performing arts school and being the next Meryl Streep and doing the whole conservatory thing. And during the process of auditioning for different schools and talking to different programs and all sorts of that piece of things, I was also really weighing this competing feeling of a drive to explore the underlying thing beneath performance. Because as I grew up and learned more about myself and why I loved performing, which is this connective piece, I came to realize that it wasn't just performance that I loved and being in a scene with someone else. It was the thing of the connection underneath that that allowed me to tap into humanity. And so that little voice of, isn't that the piece you want to explore, came in. And I had already decided on going to a performing arts conservatory up north and changed my mind at the very last minute, literally June before I was supposed to move to Boston. And I still to this day laugh because I'm a Virgo, is my sun sign, and I'm a very by the book person. I love jamming on my planner. I'm always thinking 5, 10 years ahead. And in June, I remember getting in my car one day after work and just hearing myself say out loud, I don't want to go to Boston. And cried the whole way home. Get home. My parents are there and I'm crying and they're like, "Who died? What's wrong?" And I'm like, I just don't want to go to Boston." They're like, "Oh, okay, so we can deal with this. It's fine." And it was really the first moment in my life that I had done something that not only I that not only other people didn't expect, but that I didn't expect for myself. It was the first time that
It's a good way of putting it.
the plan, right, in air quotes, didn't work, didn't go through. And that took a lot of trust in that inner voice to say no, even though I'm gonna go to a community college for the first semester and then transfer to another school because I don't have any other option for school if I want to do college this semester because it's so late in the game. And even though all of my friends are going to be having this experience and I'm going to be late and I feel like I'm missing something, that it's still the right call for me. I still need to trust it despite what anyone else thinks and even what some secret piece of myself might judge me for, that that's not actually the truth of that inner self and that inner wisdom.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, that's the tricky part. You can, I think, too, a little bit get over what other people think, even though that can be really loud. But to get over what you think or your ego thinks, that can be really difficult. I also appreciated in your story this idea of looking for underlining meaning as you were in your career in performance arts, that and that you've used that then to explore in your podcast as well. And I was curious if you could tell us more about what you see as the meaning crisis and honing the art of meaning making, making meaning out of things.
Absolutely. So, my exploration into the meaning crisis really began around this point in my life because it was when I decided to leave the predicted path and really chase meaning and not just a meaningful thing for me because I think performance would have been an extremely meaningful thing for me. But I was curious about the meaning behind the meaning and wanting to understand that. And as I explored what that meaning was for me and why was I captivated with this idea of connecting to other human beings? Why am I captivated with performance and also other elements and aspects of life? At this point, I had been reading tarot for quite some time and um, really exploring a lot of different esoteric practices. And I realized there was this connecting thread for me that even though someone else might not see it, for me, they all tapped into this same oomph, this same essence. And I quickly realized I can't be the only one who feels that thing, right? And what is that? If all of life points to something, what is that thing? And so, quickly learning that other people felt this too, I dove in and did as much research as I could. And I quickly found John Vervaeke's work. And he talks a lot about the meaning crisis. And I have a little bit of a different take on it. And in my more academic career and research, I really believe that the meaning crisis is something that everyone feels, but no one has language for. We all have this sense of spark, of purpose, of soul, of meaning, of I'm here for something when we're born. Every little kid has a dream of who they want to be, what they want to be when they grow up, right? And at some point, we learn to grow up. We're told you can't be frivolous, you can't be so selfish, be realistic, right? And I think that those little sparks of desire that you have as a kid actually are whispers of your path. It's your inner compass guiding you towards purpose, towards meaning. And 30 years down the line, after, being plopped on the conveyor belt of life in kindergarten and told, you need to work really, really hard to um, get good grades and get into elementary school, or you need to work hard. So middle school, where you need to work hard. So you get into a good high school, or you need to work hard. So you get into a good college, or you need to work hard. So you get a good job. So you make a lot of money so you can provide for your family. And then you're happy? Like, what's the secret bag at the end of all of this? Like, what's the prize? We've really missed it. And yet separating that sense of self from this journey really is, I believe, where this crisis starts. And it's not to say that, going to school and getting a job and having a family and doing traditional things prevents us from meaning by any measure. Absolutely not. It is the way that we attune to the things that we do in our life. And we're taught from a very young age that our attunement is not the one that matters, that how we serve others and how we fit into society as a whole is what really matters. And therefore, we've lost this sense of that inner spark. And now we're in the meaning crisis where we have, in more esoteric and spiritual communities, people are talking about this grand awakening that's happening right now. During COVID, that was a time, like we've talked about from your story, of great reckoning for many people, waking up to this feeling of what have I done with my entire life? And I think we've really hit a point where people are feeling something. And the meaning crisis is the language that I've chosen to assign to it because I think it makes a lot of sense. And I believe in my personal, theology and teleology of what's going on here, that we have to make our own meaning as human beings on this earth. And I think that that's really the next challenge. Once you acknowledge, okay, I'm in this moment of meaning crisis, whatever that means for me, what next?
Do
We
you
have to
see,
make it.
yeah, excuse me, do you see a correlation between intention and meaning? As you were speaking, I was thinking of a lot of the work I do and speak of the power of intention and taking time to set that intention before entering a segment of your day or in a space. I think as I heard you speak, that kind of speaks to where the meaning lies for you. So would you see
Absolutely.
kind of a
Yeah,
correlation?
I think there definitely is a correlation there. I think I'd say that it's a Venn diagram where there's absolutely an overlap, but there are still some significant differences. One of my favorite Buddhist proverbs is before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, because it's just such a beautiful metaphor of, this intention piece that you're speaking to. We don't need to absolutely like quit our jobs and move to a mountainside and become a shamanic healer and do all these things just to find meaning. We can find
Hmm.
meaning wherever you are in your life right now, whatever that looks like. Meaning is absolutely accessible to you. And I think a lot of that does come in that intentionality behind it. Are you taking 10 minutes in the morning to focus on you and maybe getting some sun on your face, saying a quick prayer, quick meditation, whatever practice grounds someone into the present moment, I think is just a way to tap back into that spark, that sense of meaning that we were all born with, as opposed to rushing right past it, right? I think the hustle and bustle is really easy to lose the intentionality piece and then lose the meaning too.
Oh, I
I would
understand.
say the significant difference for me, though, is that oftentimes when people begin, at least I found this in my work with my clients, when people begin this journey of making meaning, it often does call them to change some aspects of their life, some more significantly than others. And that can be really challenging for people. One, there is, of course, the sunk cost fallacy, where I've spent so much time doing this thing and now I'm just going to throw it away. And then there's also a lot of shame and guilt that can come from how did I forget this thing for so long? Um, and also fear of what is my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? Like, how can I do? I've never done anything like this. It's so different. But I do think that intention is the first place that people should and typically do begin with this work and is absolutely a vital piece of discovering meaning and creating it in your daily life.
I appreciate that. I'm curious and want to learn more about what you've created with the matrix, the coherence matrix. So
Yeah.
give us a little, I have a lot, I was reading through your website and kind of a lot of questions I put together. One thing I appreciated was you talked about bridging spiritual truth and daily practice. And I think you've touched on that a little bit with intention and meaning, but could you just give us an overview of the coherence matrix?
Yeah, so the coherence matrix is a paradigm, I guess, that has come out of my last 8 or so years of researching meaning and the human experience. And it's comprised of 6 main pillars that I believe um, touch all of us, are vital aspects of all of our lives. But when they all come together, when they cohere, is where the meaning creation process really ignites. So I began developing the matrix when I really was trying to put language and words to my personal um, ideas around this, what's going on here. And I'm like, I need something to sort this. What's at the foundation of all of this? And for me, it's my identity, myself, my selfhood, and then my connection to source. My spirituality is deeply important to me. And I also wanted to make it very applicable for everyone. And so I chose the word source because I know um, some people have hesitancy with the word spirit or with the universe. And I thought source was a good catch all to try and be as open as possible. And then I realized, well, it's actually not just me and source that are along this journey. Relationships are what color our life. There's this vital aspect of the other and the mirroring of that. And I think the Trinity is a really beautiful symbol to begin with. Of course, we see it Father, Son, Holy Spirit in Christianity, but the Trinity can be found everywhere, right? In so many different aspects of spirituality, sacred texts, religions, and I think to think of the self, the other, and source as all mirroring aspects of the self really felt resonant for me in terms of like, who am I? And then I was thinking, okay, yes, this is a good solid foundation, but there's more to how my purpose and meaning making process is created, is enacted into the world. Um, a big bulk of my research in an academic sphere was in philosophy. And I realized, well, I've really developed this system and my values out of some really analytical, critical thinking, but then also tapping into intuition and the heart and the gut. Um, and wanting to understand, okay, well, I've developed my own value system and my own ethic. Other people need to do that too, because if we're making meaning, yes, that's informed by my spirituality and it's informed by my relationship to other people, but what makes that about this life, this one that we're living? It's about how I can give back, how I can make the world a better place. So, philosophy builds out of that, your personal philosophy. And then I added in justice because I believe that, in a physical life that we are all living here, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but a deep part of the human experience is, for me, needing to make the world a better place. I believe that that is intrinsic to our duty as global citizens, to one another, as people who are pieces of each other. Everyone deserves equal access to the opportunity to make meaning. And then the last piece is purpose. As I was kind of searching for the connecting points between all of these things, I was like, that's the one that I haven't really tapped into yet, is this purpose that I'm so captivated by. And I realized that between me and source, philosophy and values was the thing that really built out of that. Between me and other people, justice was really the thing that built out of that. And between other people and source is where I really find my purpose, this ability, this calling to give back, to serve to other people. So the six pillars were born, but of course they all move around and merge and get messy, and they've shifted positions over time. And they're all overlapping and interconnected. So I put them into a sacred geometric pattern. The hexagon is a deeply powerful symbol for me. So I chose to use that as the foundation of this image. Um, and then I realized, well, what happens when all of these things are in alignment? When I feel like I am in communion with source, but also connection with others and living in alignment with my ethics and philosophy and pursuing my purpose while serving other people, everything coheres. Everything comes into coherence. And so the Coherence Matrix, and out of that, the Cohere Collective came to be.
That's beautiful and well thought out. It's really, there is so much there. It's really interesting. I would like to ask one more question to expand a little bit on the purpose piece. You
Yeah.
so elegantly asked me about purpose on your show. I'm curious more about your thoughts. I also read another thing on your website. It said, purpose isn't a destination, it's a sacred relationship with your evolving self. That really got me thinking because I've changed my, how do I say this? I've changed my mindset from this kind of outcome based to process based so that I fully understand and I'm continuing to working to embody. But this idea of purpose being a process, and I've most recently come to joy is a strategy, which is the same kind of idea as my purpose being process. But anyway, I would like to hear more about your thoughts on that
Yeah,
and what
absolutely.
you
No.
see as your life's purpose.
Yes, of course. Thank you for that lovely and generous question. And I completely agree. That was one thing that I was left really meditating on after our conversation. Joy as a strategy, is a mode, not as a goal. And I think that this ties back into the meaning crisis and kind of breaking out of this idea that life is a linear journey and we're checking boxes along the way. And there's this one big checkbox that we're all kind of trying to get to, but actually it doesn't really exist. And one thing that came up in a lot of my research is this idea of purpose anxiety, something that especially my generation, I'm kind of a zillennial, technically Gen Z, but I'm right on that cusp. And people in my age demographic are really struggling with this idea of I feel this calling, I feel this purpose. We have so many resources available to us. Mental health is much more talked about. Justice oriented issues are much more, there's a lot of progress happening in all of these different areas, and yet this thing is missing. And so I have developed a different definition of purpose than one that I think a lot of people um, tend to hear or default to. When we think of your life's purpose, I think we do think of it as my life's purpose is to be a doctor and to heal people. And so my follow-up question would be, that's beautiful. At what point have you healed enough people? At what point does that purpose finish? Does it accomplish? Because there's always someone else to heal. There's always another certification you could get. There's always another person you can serve, someone else you can help. So that can't really be what we're talking about. And again, it goes back to that underlying meaning. There has to be something underneath my purpose as a doctor and to heal people. And what is that? That is what I really think um, motivates us and pushes us forward on this journey. And so I really began unlearning and kind of interrogating this definition of purpose by starting with it can't be stagnant. It can't be fixed because in my own story, going from my purpose is to be an actress and to connect with people and inspire people through performance to, oh, there's another layer here that actually is that purpose. I was like, and this purpose doesn't feel any less purposeful than the acting purpose, and yet there's something else to it. So I was like, okay, purpose really is moldable, it's massageable, and it grows with you. So it's not linear, it's very cyclical. Purpose is also not stagnant, it's ever changing and evolving and kind of numinous and metaphysic in this way that it just exists all around you. For audio listeners, I'm kind of moving my hands around in this silly way to try and capture this feeling of it being in the air. I also believe that false purpose, this false definition, causes us a lot of anxiety, which is where this purpose anxiety comes in. That, oh my gosh, I have this feeling that I'm here to do something, I'm meant to do something. What is it? I need to figure out what it is that I'm meant to do. I need to find what that purpose is, that meaning. I have to. There's something here, and it's just all of that anxiousness bubbles up. True purpose, when we tap into this ever evolving nature of it, actually causes curiosity. It becomes something that promotes further exploration and further iterations and expansion of this self and of what it means to live in this life, this iteration of who you are. The last kind of piece of my difference in definition for purpose is that false purpose is the thing that we tie our worth to. When I become a doctor and I heal people, I will finally have done the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
that I need to do. I will finally feel worthy. I will finally have done it, right? And I mean, you can hear the anxiety in that, right?
Hmm.
True purpose reminds us that we are inherently, innately worthy exactly as we are right now, just from being born and taking a breath on this earth, you are worthy, meaningful, and purposeful already. And tapping into that energy actually creates this expansiveness with which we can live and releases a lot of anxiety around it. So I feel like purpose very much is the image that I like to use after kind of going through these more technical linguistic descriptions is an inner compass, and we've all used a compass in the woods before or on our phone for whatever reason. And, you're kind of walking and the arrow will kind of go back and forth past north. And every now and then, when we're living our lives, we feel that ping of true north, and then we kind of go past it a little bit, and then we're turning back towards it, and we feel that ping of true north, and we kind of go past it a little bit. And it's this steering process in relationship with our purpose that it's like a chord on the harp when it's been struck, that it's like, there it is, right? That's that feeling. And I want
Resonance.
to chase after that. But again, it's shifting and evolving and can never be taken from you either. It is so deeply personal, but also, I believe, the connected to the piece of us that is connected to source and other people and all of those
Yeah.
beautiful things as well.
I love your description of expansiveness. That felt great as soon as you said it. And that this idea that your purpose is not meant to cap you, but is meant to inspire you and open the door to opportunity and possibility and
Yeah.
better than you could imagine for yourself. That's a really good, almost like a gut check when you're doing something. If you go like, developing your purpose or finding meaning in something and saying, is this limiting me or is this allowing me to be and explore that expansiveness? That's a really awesome way
Absolutely.
to put that.
Thank you. It really reminds me too of something that we've talked about before, that is how like self-care has kind of become something else that we use to shame ourselves with
Oh
in
yes,
modern
terrible.
society. And it's like, okay, well, that's obviously not self-care. What are we doing? What are we doing here? And I think the same is very much true of purpose and how you're saying that it's like, well, I
Oh,
need to find this purpose.
oh, I
And
don't have value if I can't articulate exactly why I'm here and what I'm doing to serve the world.
exactly. And it's
And,
like, that is just so shaming. But when
and
you
limiting.
can, yes,
Well, and that speaks, sorry, you just made the
no, no,
connection for
please.
me of that kind of generational shift where, like my grandparents had one job pretty much for their entire adulthood. My parents had a few different jobs, but I have had far more jobs already than my parents had. That this allowing of building a career that does not involve pledging yourself and your life to one single purpose or entity in your work life.
Absolutely. If there is an entity that you pledge yourself to, it should be yourself, right?
Right. Or even if you're creating a business, there's this open thing of, I don't, and we have those conversations actually with my kids, like, you don't have to be one thing. It's okay that you're good at multiple things. It's okay that you like multiple things. You can build multiple businesses. You can do it at the same time or one after the other or wherever. Yeah. This
Yeah.
expansiveness of let there be possibility for you.
Yes. One thing that I did very early on in this exploration for myself, because it was when I realized that there was something underneath the performance that was really what captivated me. Not just acting, but this other thing. I sat down and I made a list of everything that I loved, just absolutely would get lost in, was in flow in when I was doing. And so I had acting and photography, writing poetry, playing volleyball, all the things that I did growing up, painting, hanging out, laughing with my friends, right? Any sort of cooking with my grandma,
Right.
whatever that looks like. And I was like, okay, all of these things have something in common. What is that?
Of course, that thread. I'd like to
Right.
hang on for the
Exactly.
ride.
Exactly.
That's
And not to
fantastic.
say that, you know, I have been captivated with the thread and kind of angled my meaning around the thread itself. But I think part of this expansiveness is that another very valid and worthwhile path would have been just picking one and chasing it, or, hopping from performance to photography to volleyball player to chef to whatever that looks like for any person. As long as it does have that expansive feeling, exactly like you're saying. I completely agree.
That's beautiful. Well, please, can you tell listeners where they can connect with you and your work?
Yes, absolutely. So again, the Cohere Collective is the name of my company. I do work one-on-one with people to help them find and pursue their purpose, which even the word pursue, I'm kind of resistant to. Now that listeners have heard, they'll probably understand why. So you can check out Cohere over at www.thecoherecollective.com. There is a free 30-minute consultation where we can just chat and see if this is something working one-on-one with me would be something you're interested in, or just to learn more about Cohere. I also have a podcast called Making Meaning, where I interview people just like Kay Margaret about how they find and make meaning in this beautiful, crazy life. And you can find Making Meaning anywhere you get your podcasts. And follow us all over social media, all at the Cohere Collective.
Beautiful. And I will, of course, include all those links in the show notes. So thank you again. I very much appreciated this conversation.
Thank you so much, Kay Margaret. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for joining me on Intuitive Wisdom. If this episode brought you clarity or inspiration, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. It truly helps others find this space. And if someone you love, you could use a shift in energy, share this episode with them. You never know what might resonate. For more, explore my frequency reset service, tune into more episodes, or begin the journey through my book, all at deliciousease.com. That's DELICIOUSEASE.com. All right, until next time, trust your energy, honor your space, and keep coming home to yourself.